Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovius inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh, thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, get everything you need into the cloud. Tax season as well. You got to scan documents in, all that kind of stuff. You're a small business. Perfect for your situation. So hit them up today at copiers-plus.com. Joe, we have a very busy show today. Brooke Pryor is going to drop on by. She's at the Super Bowl. Mike Maniscalco is going to drop on by. We'll have a little fun basketball quiz time with our guy, Steve Schwartz. A little Drake Maye story time with Steve. But you know what?
Yeah.
You got to give the people what they want. So let's just get right to it.
We're fucking on the Will Wade band tonight.
Look at NC State getting another road victory in conference. 6-0 on the road, a wild one against SMU. It turned into a three-point shooting contest, it felt like, in the second half. And Quadir Copeland continues to be, as we've discussed, a bit of a bus driver for NC State. And I'm glad the final sequence of the game did not diminish from what was an overall excellent game from Copeland. 16 assists? You know, he got 7 points, 16 assists. He was fantastic in this game.
You mean the missed free throws?
Well, not only that, but he was adamant about the calling for the challenge, the coach's challenge.
That was okay. They had a timeout.
He adamant, didn't go their way. And then SMU goes and scores on the next possession, and then he misses the free throw. I'm thinking, oh, man, this is a good game, and we're going to, this happens there at the end. But no, NC State pulls it out. What was it? Holloman with the block there at the end. And that's your ball game, 84-83 for NC State.
Interesting sequence there. State's up 84-81, and Boopy Miller gets a switch onto Van Allen Lubin, goes to the basket, scores.
Yeah.
Next time down, SMU has the ball, now down 1. Boopy Miller has the ball, same deal. Here's a screen, and State doesn't switch. Holloman stays on him. Like I said, just the previous show.
Yeah.
Holloman has become a little bit of a defensive nuisance, a little bit of an energy, a little bit of a galvanizer kind of player for NC State. And the number one thing to take away, not only is it a Q1 win for NC State, but their roles continue to be defined. This team continues to figure out who they are, and it's a game-by-game basis, and they keep getting better on a game-by-game basis. And that is the sign of coaching. Another game in the first half where I'm like, ooh, not sure, but a sign of a good coach. Make adjustments at the half. The team always plays better in the second half. That's the mark of Will Wade's team so far this year.
We're fucking all the time and we'll pay.
Another thing that I've noticed about Will Wade, I thought this was kind of funny. This is him after the game. I don't know if it was to Matt Chazanow on the radio broadcast or was in the post game. This is over from Pack Power over at Corey. We heard all the chatter, We've been beating up on the bottom of the league. All right, well, now we've beaten 2 top teams in the league on the road. I'm thinking to myself, chatter? What chatter has there been? Other than, hey, ACC schedule's ramping up for you. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. We're in the end game now for NC State with the 9 games remaining, starting with this road game against SMU. Prior to that, you've had your ups and downs. I know Will Wade's still annoyed about the Georgia Tech loss at home, but that's counterbalanced by a really nice win on the road at Clemson, which is what he's referring to. So I'm not quite sure what chatter he's getting at, unless we're just doing classic hunting for things to motivate you, which is what good coaches will do. They'll find things to fixate on and get to the team and let's go prove the doubters wrong and all this other kind of stuff, which is fine. And I do think it's interesting that this is fed off onto the fans as well. Look, sometimes you take on the personality of your coach as a fan base. So sure enough, the OG Sports phone was popping last night with this win over SMU.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
My personal favorite came through via the text, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the text onto the YouTube channel. I will read it out loud for the audio. When will both of you start your apologies to Will Wade? Coach has absolutely proved what he set out to do. You guys are the ones who added all this arbitrary garbage about his red wrecking talk. I like how he put in red wrecking. You mean the red reckoning. Got it. The guys' goals were to make the NCAA tournament and to be a top 4 team in the ACC. As of right now, we are well on our way. and you guys owe him an apology for all the absolute bullshit you talked. If there is no apology, you guys can go be with your boy, Kevin Keats. That is why the OG Sports Phone exists.
Yeah, there's no apology here. Because apologizing requires being wrong. First of all, we're not going to do this. We're not going to retcon what Will came in here and said. Right. Will came in here and said about a red reckoning. He's the one who put it up on the scoreboard. He's the one who ran his mouth about what NC State was going to be, and not in the future, but right now. And it's going to happen right away. So those were his words. So we're not doing that. Like, just as I get on the Belichick thing about truthers, we're not making facts up. You don't get to choose your own reality.
No,
that's not what this world is. If you need to do that somewhere else, that's fine. But we're not doing that here. Okay. Yeah, he said they've made a change, even Will change in his messaging since the UNC Asheville game where he had a full practice and the walkthrough.
Yeah.
That's really where you saw them change what they are. And they reshifted the focus of the team from Darian Williams to Kadir Copeland being the bus driver. And again, finding your roles, Paul McNeil being your shooter. Van Allen Lubin I thought Van Allen Lubin had a really good game last night because that's the kind of game he can get lost in because of SMU's center and their size and their athleticism. And I thought he held his own really well. That's one of the better signs for NC State from last night about how they played. But no, you don't get to choose your own reality and your own facts on this program. I'm not going to stand for that. So sorry, if you need to text or go somewhere else, that's perfectly fine as well.
It's funny because I kind of talked about this yesterday, and I think we're seeing it play out in the last 24 hours. I asked the question: if you strip away all the stuff that happened in the offseason or the hiring and the lead up and all that kind of stuff, and you just look at what NC State's doing so far this season, how do you view it without the Jimmy V cosplay and the demonstrative press conferences and stuff like that? How do you view it? And I think everybody goes, hell yeah, man, we sign up for this every single time. And to your point, and what I said yesterday, I think it still holds true today. Look, man, you can say all the things that you want. You thought you're going to be all this coming in. You could be stubborn and still think you're going to do this, or you could see what you have. And to your point, know what the roles are, know what the roles need to be, change them, get people to commit to it. And here you go. And this is where NC State is right now. Let's go back to the sports phone, shall we? A 980.
Man, just finished watching the NC State game tonight. How about my boy Kadir out there dishing dimes? D. Will looking every bit like a big-time player. And that defense by Holloman at the end on Bussi, absolute lockdown. Haven't seen that defense like that since Giglio had to save Ovius from that boomer at the Carter Finley After Dark. Love the show, guys. Go Pack.
Yeah, remiss not to say Kadir Copeland. 16 assists, no turnovers.
No turnovers.
16 assists is hard to do on by itself, but to do it with 0 turnovers, yeah, man, like he was balling out. The start of the second half is another one of those bursts that we've kind of seen from NC State that they've had in some of these games, like at Florida State, at Wake Forest, where they have these little bursts where you're like, whoa, that's everything. That's the full arsenal. And that was the start of the second half. Now they had a 10-point lead that they kind of let get away from them because, again, they get into some of these execution problems when they get into the half court. And some of it's execution, some of it's the shot doesn't go. Like, Darian Williams, it's 84-83, has a very clean look at the basket, nice play, isolation, everything you would ever want except the basket. You know what I mean? So, look, you got to give NC State and Copeland in particular, he's a guy who they did not go into the year thinking this is what this guy's going to look like.
Well, it's funny. We got a text from a 919 that says, it was quoting, the Copeland kid is someone you bring in because you have no other choices, end quote. And the text ends with, put that on the wall behind Giglio. And I asked you before we sat down and we got going, I'm like, again, you know me, man, you do this long enough, people remember things and you don't remember them. Like, this is not, I don't remember the 2 interceptions I had in a football game. It's like, hey, remember when you said this? I'm like, actually, I don't remember when I said that. What did I say? And then you go back and you'll catch it. But when I saw that, I'm like, wait a minute, who said that?
No, the Garner guys sent me the clip. It was when we had Brandon on and when they signed their first wave of signings, they signed Copeland. And quite frankly, he's an agitator, right? Like the one part I will say I got wrong about Copeland, you need someone who speaks your language. And so when Will Wade comes in, you're bringing somebody who can translate Will's intentions, his playbook, his emotions, all those things. You need somebody like that in your locker room.
Yeah.
So I'll fully admit I got that part of it wrong. But if you think NC State bought in Kadir Copeland to lead the ACC in assists or even be the bus driver on this team, you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's not what they thought was going to happen. It's a credit to Copeland that he has gotten better. That's where the credit goes to. And no, I'm not putting my fucking losses on the wall. Do you see my wins on the wall anywhere? Like, seriously, you like haters. And so I pulled up a couple of haters here because I know you like haters, not to me specifically, but it makes you feel good. Like, it makes you feel alive. It's the thing that you missed from. No, this is not about me right now.
No. Let me clarify what I mean by why I enjoy the haters. If you don't,
then nobody gives telling you how great you are. You don't need that in your life.
No, what it's telling you is that nobody's listening. That's why I want haters.
Well, to that point, you got to be doing something right.
Yes.
When Carolina fans think you're a State guy, and when State guys think you're an idiot. Okay.
Yeah.
So you posted the clip about. This was the very specific point of the clip from earlier in the week.
Oh, the one about Carolina and State being in a particular tier?
They're in the same group. They're very similar positions.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of where they could be. So Marcus, obviously a Carolina fan. They're 18-4. They have wins over, Virginia, Kansas, Kentucky. Those are great. Ohio State, ranked 14th. That does not matter. Should be in a class by themselves. Sometimes your anti-UNC bias shows. So I did reply to him. Yes, these are all, they have their flaws. Now, would you say Ken Pomeroy and his numbers are biased?
If you ask Doug Gottlieb this week, yes.
But
I know what you're saying.
To most normal people, would you say that Ken Pomeroy is biased? And they would say, no, Joe, they're just numbers. Okay, well, let's look. Number 23, NC State. Number 28, North Carolina. I don't know. Looks pretty similar to me.
Oh, we said at the beginning of the season, not even Ken Pom. My new guy, Evan Maya. So remember when they did the tiers of ACC teams, and UNC and NC State were literally the Spider-Man pointing meme in terms of their ceiling and their floor.
Okay, well maybe you're saying, oh Joe, I don't like Ken Pom. How about the net, Giglio? Oh my gosh, number 25, NC State. Number 26, North Carolina. Hey guys, that's not biased. How about even better, Joe? How about even better? Mm-hmm. Numbers are all bullshit, right?
Of course.
But Vegas and people who create odds, like, they have no dog in this fight. What could they possibly be saying about North Carolina and NC State? And what are their chances to make the Final Four? Holy shit, look at this. NC State plus 2,000. Oh my God, checks notes. North Carolina plus 2,000. Oh, you're so fucking biased. Like, oh my God. No, maybe we just watch the games. Maybe we understand how this area works. Maybe this is how the world works around here. Just maybe. But I did find one hater because, the newspaper business, you learn you don't look at the comments. Radio, you've always kind of enjoyed the comments. Twitter,
it makes it go.
Makes it go. So I found this one and I was like, I salute you. Brian Pollard, nothing like two State homer guys trying to make State relevant at any opportunity. They were the reason I stopped listening to 99.9. Well, I'm glad you're back, Brian. I am glad that you're back. Yes, I'm trying to make State relevant. Ken Pom, the net, and the bookmaking gambling odds all have Carolina and State in the same spot. But the point I made earlier in the week, because I went to NC State, can't be right.
Mm-hmm.
And this gets back to one of your biggest 10,000 foot view takes that you'll always be right about. Carolina fans are mad that they're not Duke. Sorry. And then Carolina fans, the absolute instant you try to put NC State into that equation.
In the same breath.
They will go, hold on, sir. We might not be Duke, but we ain't you, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what the math says.
Well, funny thing about sports, there's a way to settle this.
Yeah, there is. They'll actually get to play. What a concept.
No, I would prefer they play twice. But we don't get that. But they do get to play.
Maybe Charlotte will get a run it back.
Maybe
Charlotte.
we will. Maybe we will. And to the whole thing about you're the reason why I stopped. Well, the algorithm certainly understands what you want. Never forget, the algorithm is different than actively pursuing and listening to something. So if you're getting our stuff, that tells me you're staying on our stuff. And we appreciate you. Thank you very much. Let's go to 1919.
Andy from Raleigh here. Oh, my God. What a win. I am erect for the reckoning. I think it's fine.
I'm sorry. I have to pause.
We have grown men calling up hotlines saying they are erect.
We're fucking on the Will Wade bed tonight.
Let's continue.
Really here. State, man, they never win that game. They never win that game. Good gosh. I'm so fired up. I'm so fired up.
That is fair. That is a fair point. Because remember, everything they did in 24 was a neutral site, was, tournament, this, that, the other. That kind of road win is one that has eluded NC State forever.
It's almost like NC State shit is dead.
Well, yeah, that's long been gone.
There's that, number one. Number two, the other thing, and you're finally hip to it. You finally saw it. Speaking of the algorithm. What did I say when Will Wade got hired? This is new territory for NC State, and that might explain why certain colors are erect after a win. Because you're not the only one who's erect after an NC State win. There are a lot of people who absolutely want to fuck on the Will Wade sheets in the national media. So you get the Aaron Torres, who's been a long time bouncing all over the place college basketball guy. Like, look at what's happening.
Look at this resume.
You've got what's his face? Who's this is March?
Rothstein.
John Rothstein, American gangster Will Wade. And we know how the Field of 68 guys feel about Will Wade. This is for the first time that I can remember that NC State has a guy that the guys like.
Yeah.
And that's also good that's very good for NC State. Let's go to 704.
Hey, Joe. What's your concern level where Darion's game is right now? Go Pack, baby! Let's go!
How do you not love this?
Beautiful.
How do you not love this? This is what makes it go, man. Congratulations on NC State for winning the net. Wait, that was just a road win against SMU?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, people are erect over a regular season road win. Can you imagine if they actually do something in Charlotte for the ACC tournament? I mean, we had grown men crying in 2024. Wow. We might actually have copulation take place mid-court from people if they win.
I think it's the games here. No.
Oh God, because they play Carolina and Duke here.
Yeah.
If they beat Carolina, they say they run Carolina. What do you think will happen? Will pants be removed? Will there actually be indecency charges pressed on certain people?
Shouts to our guy Jay, who said, of all the years for us not to play at Duke or Carolina, when we have a motherfucker like Kadir Copeland.
Oh my goodness.
He's like, Why can't we be over there?
You get it at home. Let's go to 1828.
Quadir Copeland. It's 8 a.m. I'm not even a State fan. I'm a Duke fan, and all I can think about is Quadir Copeland. 33 minutes, 7 points, only took 4 shots. The stat line gets more and more interesting. 10 rebounds and 16 assists. 0 turnovers. An undeserved flagrant foul. Missing 2 free throws. They could have put them up 3 at the end of the game, and State still wins a huge road game at SMU. Outplaying fellow ACC journeyman Boopy Miller. Quadir Copeland is the most interesting man in the ACC, and I have no choice but to love and admire him. He deserves more hype. First player I saw on ACC Twitter, first player since 97 to put up a 16 assist, 0 turnover game. I just wanted to shout out my man Quadir. We need to get some kind of movement to get him on some kind of all ACC team by the end of the year if he's not already in contention, because, man, what a player. He's fun. Maybe we can go to court. Somebody can go to court and get him like a permanent injunction to stay in the ACC because he makes things interesting. Shout out to State for having a great ACC season so far. And, as a Duke fan, we'll see them later in the year in Raleigh. And who knows what Quadir will do then. But we will see. So shout out my man Quadir. I'll be watching State games, looking for more absurd stat lines from him moving forward.
You know, things have hit a tipping point when my own mother asks, what's up with that Copeland guy? I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, he's a constant kinetic ball of whatever. I was like, yeah, state needs that. Just straight up, like, state needs that. And to your point, where I think you're absolutely right with Copeland and why it makes sense. It made sense for him to follow McNeese State over to Will Wade. And we hear this all the time from coaches. You need guys in the room that can get your message across to everybody else in the room. And as we're doing the speed dating thing and getting teams together, you need guys like that to help you out. And I think Copeland has been a crucial piece to NC State and how they've gotten to this point. One more phone call from a 919.
Hey guys, this is Matt in Peakway. Calling after the state game tonight, and I beat my eat some crow a little bit. I was really down on the team after the Georgia Tech game, and I've really never seen anything like this. And I looked it up afterwards, and literally the last time NC State started 6-0 on the road in the ACC was 1974. No further context than that. Obviously, things are very different, but yeah, it literally hasn't happened since 1974. Sorry. Second thought. This is kind of a question for Giglio. Story/question. When I was in college at East Carolina, during the 2008 Super Bowl, Giants-Patriots, there was a major outage on the Fox affiliate, and for large portions of eastern North Carolina, the cable or the TV froze on Tom Petty's face during the halftime show, and it was on his face for like 40 minutes, and it did not come back on until with like 1 minute left in the third quarter. And my question is, which obviously is just a crazy story, it's just kind of random, so I have no memory of the third quarter, never saw it. The question is, Joe Giglio, what would you have done if this happens to you at your Super Bowl party? Love the show, guys. Stay gorgeous, stay handsome. Peace.
I have a hard enough time as it is because I have Hulu.
Yeah.
And so it's like a good 2 minutes behind everything. So I can't really watch. Back when Twitter was really popping, I could not be on Twitter and watch Hulu.
Yeah.
But at the Super Bowl, it's a little bit of okay, we're on the honor system here. You got to put your phones away.
Mm-hmm.
That's just for, 2 minute delay. A 40-minute delay, I would have ripped the TV off the wall and lost my mind.
Anyway, I appreciate everybody who called the OG Sports phone. State's got Virginia Tech on Saturday. Appetizer for the Duke-Carolina game. Duke played last night. I don't know if you heard.
I watched Duke in the first half for sure.
I don't know if you heard. It lost in all of the grown men getting erect over a win at SMU was a Duke Virginia Tech game that wasn't pretty, but I want to give John Shire credit. We joke about it. Shire is about it. And here he is. Ethan Hyman over at the News and Observer sent us this video, and I chuckled with what I would describe as a defensive showcase against Virginia Tech. And John was just trying to look at the bright side of things.
What are you doing with the second half like that? I'm not sure. I got to watch the film. It doesn't feel good, obviously. Scoring 25 points. Is that the least we've scored, or are we? It is. It's the least we've scored, right? It's not fun scoring 25 points in a half, but if you're going to score 25, at least hold them to less. That's the one thing I would say. So that's good. But I thought we were just slow. We weren't sharp, and that's on me. I have to help our guys with that.
Getting back to the second half offense, you guys shot 0 for 7.
Can we just, if you want to, I guess we can.
Sorry. You guys shot 0 for 7 from 3. Were you happy with those looks, or what do you tell the team when the shots aren't falling, knowing that you have such a strong interior presence with Cam and Pat and others?
Yeah, I think the fact that we've established the paint in a bigger way in the last month or so, it's going to lead to great three-point shots for us. And so I want us to shoot those open ones. And I can't tell you all of the 7. It felt like a disjointed half in a lot of ways. I don't know if there was a great rhythm to it, but I would say most of the threes I thought were pretty good. And, I trust our guys to make those shots. We have to continue to shoot them while also establishing the paint is going to be a big strength for us.
So that was Jon Scheyer after the winner over Virginia Tech.
Boston College.
I'm sorry, Boston College. Why did I say Virginia? Oh, I said Virginia Tech because of NC State, Virginia Tech this weekend. So they beat Boston College. Apologies. I mean, I might as well just go ahead and hit the sounder.
All mixed up, you don't know what to do. I guess we'll clarify and correct something or two. Cause you know what, Joe is not the first or the last thing they've got wrong in the past.
Gotta have a short memory, Joe. Just move on to the next segment. No, so Boston College. But my point was, I appreciate Shirer's homage to Herb Sendek. Yeah, we only scored 25 points in the second half. We made sure that we kept them to less. You can score more than the other team, or you can prevent the other team from scoring more than you, which is exactly what I think Duke has been doing here in the last month, which Scheyer referred to, right? And I find this interesting going into the game on Saturday, which we'll spend some more time talking about tomorrow. And that both Carolina and Duke have had second half performances that give the coaches what they want. Now, I still maintain that that's coach speak. That's a rational, logical way of looking at things. It's the Duke-Carolina game. If you cannot get up for that game and you require, oh, well, the last 10 minutes against Syracuse were a problem, that'll focus them. No. Well, you know, we got the Carolina game, and this will focus them with our second half of lack of offense. No. Everybody, lights are on. Everybody's ready for this. What I find interesting is for John, they have figured out what works. Rebounding, interior play, right? You want to talk about your Ken Palm numbers and everything else? They are dominating on the boards, and they are dominating with twos. Okay, now, I understand that in basketball, we've gotten away from that. We don't value the two as much as we value the three. NC State is on the opposite end of the spectrum. They're taking threes. They're going in. There's a little bit of a live by the three, die by the three. I know Duke fans will sit here and tell you, I've heard that one before because they've had teams that live by the three, die by the three. I like this about Duke. I like this about Jon Scheyer and recognizing what he has and trying to get these roles going. And I do think that on Saturday against Carolina, what have I seen more consistent out of these two teams? I've seen Duke more consistently control through their defense and rebounding than I have Carolina that still goes through those lapses, which is why ultimately I'll give the edge to Duke in this game at the Smith Center. But Scheyer, I get Shirer's concern because we've talked about this with Duke going forward and that you need guys to hit threes. You need guys to make shots. The Isaiah Evans X factor, you get the roster construction, everything else. But if you're problem solving, like we've said about Duke a lot this year, just like Will Wade's had to problem solve, how are we going to get this roster to get to the goals we want? I think Shirer's done an excellent job. And somebody had pointed this out on YouTube, and I think people are misunderstanding my point. And we'll close the segment on this. I think people are misunderstanding my point when I bring up last year's squad versus this year's squad. When I bring up last year's squad relative to the strength of the ACC and this year's squad relative to the strength of the ACC, objectively, we can look at these two squads, Cameron Boozer's Duke squad, Cooper Flagg's Duke squad. And we could objectively say the Cooper Flagg squad was, bar for bar, a better squad. Okay?
Yeah. Just more dominant, more talented.
All those things.
More balanced.
However, you can say with this team, everybody understands what they're supposed to do, which is what Jon Scheyer is really, really good at. We saw this earlier when Jon Scheyer had, now the name is escaping me. The big man that basically just give me defense, man. Don't take shots. Why can't I remember the guy's name?
Malwatch.
No, not Malwatch. It was his first year.
Oh, Lively.
Yes, Derek Lively. Derek Lively was like, hey, man, and he kept talking about it. You can affect winning games. You can affect the game, and you can make winning plays that don't require you to shoot. Okay? Give me some D, man. And that's your role. And things started to click for him in that regard. So I think the same thing's happening here now, too, with Duke and what they are. And I don't know. I think Duke's a more sound team. I think Duke problem solves in real time better than anybody else in the ACC. Their record indicates that. And that's why ultimately, while I think it's going to be a back and forth game, high-level game with Duke and Carolina, I'm just going to give Duke the edge based on what I've seen so far this season of getting out of jams. They've done that more consistently than not. Whereas Carolina, they've gotten themselves in jams and unable to get out of said jams a few times this year.
It's almost like the second half of that Boston College game was a tribute to North Carolina. Both had big leads. Mm-hmm. Both kind of took their foot off the gas and realized let's looking ahead. What's next?
Housekeeping brought to you by our friends at Enovana. You can check them out online at enovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion Get it clean, clean with Enovana.
So we did have some suggestions on our YouTube channel about remixing the Enovana jingle to rhyme with the Goon Cave.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I was like, maybe not.
No.
Maybe not. And honestly, don't do that to Enovana. Okay? You clean that up. All right? You clean that up. Go to enovana.com. Also, head over to our secret stash, the OG.shop. Mikey P's got all sorts of fun, crazy designs. As Shelby was rocking the Waffle House yesterday, we should have the Forever Grateful homage to the Grateful Dead dropping here relatively soon. All that is on the secret stash, the OG.shop. You can also go to our friends at Breaking Tea, breakingtea.com/OG. That's where we get our Dead Logos collection. And you can also bundle and save there. They got sales all the time. They got great cane stuff over at Breaking Tea. So check them out, breakingtea.com/OG. And of course, we've got our After Dark this Saturday after the Carolina Duke game. It'll be an interesting one, to say the least. So, Joe, you're tapping out of that one. Alex Nunley will be here because who wants more basketball coverage of Carolina Duke with another state guy? That's how we operate here at OG Media. We swap one state, quote unquote, state guy out for an actual state guy, Alex Nunley. So now we'll have a good time talking hoops. It'll be a good time. And it's all brought to you by our friends at Bloomin' Blinds. They bring you the After Darks. We got a couple coming up. Obviously, we got Duke Carolina. We got State Carolina. We got State Duke, and obviously the last Duke Carolina game. And then we're headed off to the ACC Tournament, where we'll be doing some After Darks. We are approved for the ACC Tournament.
I saw that.
Again.
It's good.
Another successful year of OG Media, proving to the offices in Charlotte. Yeah, fine, we'll let those guys in. So, Bloomin' Blinds brings you the After Darks. Call them today, 919-980-9815. BloominBlinds.com. That's I-N. BloominBlinds.com. Tell them we sent you. You'll get 10 or more window treatments. You'll get 10% off. That's a fantastic deal with our friends at Bloomin' Blinds, who bring you the After Dark. Again, call them at 919-980-9815. Also, shout out to our friends at Color Graphic. We'll have another summer of brief history of Triangle Good. We're starting to stack those stories, like Giglio's favorite Carolina basketball team of all time featured 2 football players. We'll have to get to that. But in the meantime, Color Graphic also loves bringing you the one-word graphic Hall of Fame. And I enjoyed this one. I like it when you surprise me. Florida State. $437 million in red. Appropriate that they did red, because apparently FSU athletics-related debt for the 2025 fiscal year amounted to $437 million in debt. So all those Florida State fans who, every time I would make a casual throwaway reference to being a broke athletic department, I give you this in big, bold letters with a football and a Florida State logo, 437M with a $sign to start.
There's not a period in there somewhere?
Nope. $437 million in debt.
Did they pay for all of their legal fees? Like, how did...
Dude, you want to know why Florida State's down bad? That's why they're down bad. So there's your there's your graphic Hall of Fame. Thanks for our friends at Color Graphic. Hit them up, sales@colorgraphic.com. Again, that's sales@colorgraphic.com. Look, I'll be honest with you, with the peanut butter flavors, I will go $437 million in debt at 2 Roosters.
But you don't have to.
No, it's not that expensive. It's very fairly priced ice cream with lots of peanut butter goodies. It is Lovers Month at 2 Roosters. Check them out, 2roosters.com. Yes, I'm going for the peanut butter lovers. They have a chocolate lovers. They have all sorts of lovers.
Yeah, but the peanut butter has Reese's.
I know.
And a Ripple.
And yes, I know, and pieces. It has Reese's peanut butter cups and pieces and a Ripple.
Yeah.
I will go into debt for that.
I mean,
and diabetic
stay
shock.
in debt.
Well, this is true. Can't get out of debt if you stay in debt. So 2roosters.com, check them out again. That's 2roosters.com. And hey, look, do you want to see, hey, guys, maybe you don't want to be $437 million in debt.
Florida State.
Maybe you need to call Matt Davis over at State Farm. Do some better financial planning. Maybe that's an idea. And it can't be private equity. Like, no, let's make some sound advice, like some sound business decisions here, right?
How's that even possible?
Anyway, InsureGarner.com, Matt Davis is going to help you out. He's going to save money on home and auto, obviously, because that's what they do with State Farm. Great customer service. They're there for you. And financial services as well. Financial planning. All part of the portfolio for Matt Davis and the crew over at State Farm in Garner. Visit them online at InsureGarner.com or call them directly at 919-779-8277. You know, we have played the we're doing it on the Will Wade bed, or you're going to be doing it in the Slobber and Sheets bed. I have a question for Mike Maniscalco, play-by-play for the Carolina Hurricanes, brought to you by Brassfield Accounting. And maybe we put a big Brassfield logo on these sheets, and the pillows are of Brandon Bussi. Do we do that, Mike?
Yeah, why not?
Big shouts to Brassfield Accounting, brassfieldaccounting.com. Tell him we sent you, and you're an OG listener. He'll do your personal taxes, so hit him up, brassfieldaccounting.com. But I jotted this down. I'm like, all right, we're talking to Maniscalco today. What else can be said about Bussi? It's right here. What else can be said about Bussi at this point with another couple of great saves last night?
The simple answer I can give you is this is for real. Like this year, this is for real. This isn't a mirage. This isn't well, let's see when we get to when a team plays him again or to a harder part of the schedule or when he's got to pick up more of the workload. I think that's what you look at it. So when you're saying this, is it more like the comfort tour bus that has the beds in it? And we could put the Brassfield Accounting on the side of it from Homer, Alaska. And by the way, tax season is coming up. And Brandon might need him because I get the feeling he's going to get a bump to a higher tax bracket.
Yeah, that'll definitely be the case for Brandon Bussi.
But no, it's honestly the answer is that what we're seeing this year, and I will try to tamper the expectations for everything else, because who knows what the future holds.
Right.
But this year, this season, this is the real deal. This isn't a 10-game stretch where somebody got really, really hot. And I remember Andrew Hammond, who was really the last guy to do this, to go on a run like this with Ottawa. And some of the wins were, a little bit of fool's gold that came into it. But, you still have to make the saves. For me, for Bussi, it's he doesn't give up on the play, right? There's not this, I'm going to let in a bad goal and that's going to deflate the team. Yeah. He's let in, and he'll be the first one to tell you, yeah, there've been a couple that he'd like to have back, but he hasn't let in the goal at the wrong time for the majority of his starts this year. So that's why what we're seeing is real. Like that, I think that's it. I think because that is still the question. Like, okay, well, what happens? And now there's going to be another question when we get to April. Can you do this in the playoffs? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. But if the Canes keep playing like this, there's no reason to think that it'll be different.
First of all, I'd like to apologize to Freddie Anderson. I did not watch the game last night, but when the alert came on my phone that the Senators were up 1-0, just 2 minutes and 46 seconds, turned to Jack and said, well, I wonder who's in goal tonight. So I apologize to Freddie. No, I want to be all excited about the Hurricanes. I really do. The point streak, 9 games in a row. I was like, man, you write these things for the AP. You gotta look all these. It's intense.
And you should be excited because it looks like without Barkov, looks like the Panthers might not be making the playoffs at this point.
It's getting late early in Florida.
It is. Division.
It is.
Now, so
it is.
Put a pin. Okay. As you and Adam Gold like to say.
No, that's a me thing. Gold never says that.
I don't know. Put a pin in that for right now, because while I'm checking my phone and then I'm like, I doze in and out on the couch and then I wake up and I see the scroll that Tampa beats my Buffalo Sabres last night. And the scroll says Tampa, while I'm all excited about the Hurricanes being 7-0-2.
Yeah.
18-1-1 in their last 20. A new team from Florida has entered the chat that I believe the Hurricanes will have to go through to be the last team in the Eastern Conference.
Well, I mean, John Cooper is at his desk, facing the snow, acting like he's Tony Montana. So, yeah, I mean,
I hope I'd be running hot in the playoffs so we could both say, sir, you have aggrieved us,
both of us,
as an Italian and a Cuban.
I'm sorry. Wrong city, John. Wrong city. Anyway, sorry, we digress.
First, you get the money, then you get the power. Then you get the Stanley Cups. That's John Cooper.
Because all of our conversations are about like what's going to happen in April, what's going to happen in May, and the playoffs and those other things. And it's really truly a time, because we've been doing this on the college basketball side. So who can we win? Who can win this thing? Like, and what is your station in life if you're the Carolina Hurricanes? The 7-0-2 is nice. What do you think of the Eastern landscape? Because it does seem to be shifting from Florida being the dark Sith Lord on the horizon there to to Tampa maybe being the apprentice who you can't see has hidden himself to the.
Well,
all right, Yoda.
Let's take a long journey 5-6 years ago into the past. This was what Tampa was, right?
Yeah.
This is maybe a little bit more firepower when you think of, a name like Steven Stamkos, and then they had a really great third line with Blake Coleman, Barclay Goodrow, and Yanni Gourde. Well, now they've got that firepower again with Jake Gensel. He's been a great fit for them. And they're doing this. The amazing thing is Braden Point, before his injury, wasn't having a great year. Nikita Kucherov might be the best offensive player in the NHL. And all around, when you talk about forwards, what he does, he's just amazing to watch night after night. And, Andrei Vasilevsky got kind of banged up after those long runs. He had a couple of surgeries and things. And, now they've gone a couple of years where they're not playing into June, and everything has kind of gotten back on track. They've gotten their defense in order. They're a really good team. So when you're asking me the landscape for the East, there are two teams that if you climb the mountain, these are your final bosses. And it's Tampa in the Atlantic, and it's Carolina in the Metro, just because of the way that the Canes play and the balance that they bring in. And Brandon Bussi, as I've said, is for real. And now you're getting guys scoring goals. You're getting prime Andrei Svechnikov coming off of a 19-point month in January, and he's just rolling. Now all of a sudden, Sebastian Aho's heating up on that line. Oh, Seth Jarvis is going to chip in 2 goals the other night as well. And then Jordan Staal is turning back the clock to his offensive days in Pittsburgh with 14 goals on the season. And that line now with Nick Ehlers is tough to play against. And why has the power play gotten better? Because Jacob Slavin is. The penalty kill has gotten better because Jacob Slavin's back. Why has the power play gotten better? Because they're winning faceoffs and they're getting puck possession. So it's all coming together for those teams. Now, that being said, I don't want to rule out some other teams in the East, but I'm pretty much ruling out everybody. If it's not Carolina or Tampa going to the Stanley Cup final, something drastic happens between now and the end of the season. Just the way that the landscape is we're talking about this in early February.
Yeah, not to have a new segment here called Everything I Learned by looking at the gambling odds, but as you can see, Eastern Conference, Tampa plus 190.
Yeah.
In the same ballpark, Carolina plus 220. Literally, the Florida Panthers are in last place in their division.
Yeah.
And they have the third best odds right now. So Montreal, Buffalo, Montreal and Detroit are right up there in points wise at 1,500, 1,800.
But the money likes Tampa. And what I was going to say, though, is that you do have a tendency to fall in love with these NHL teams that are playing hot at this time. Right?
And that's why you see Buffalo bumped up a little bit there. Buffalo 21-4-2 in their last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, by the way, that's a great story. I have to wonder, though, after the Olympic break, is that sustainable for them? And they got off to such a bad start. They needed to do that just to get into into a playoff position. But is that sustainable? Can they keep doing that? And maybe they can. But the weird part is, you look at the East, and every night I'm looking at it, I'm like, nobody loses, right? Especially when they're playing the Western Conference, nobody in the East loses. And you're like, you have one bad week, you're going to go from third to looking possibly to the outside of the playoffs with what's happening here. Then there's the Western Conference. I know you didn't ask, but really it's Colorado.
I'll tell you anyway.
It's Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, Vegas. That it's those 4 teams. And we're going to get one of them is going to be out in the first round and all, but it's fine. That's fine.
Whoa, no Edmonton?
I like Edmonton. I really do. And this is shame on me that I haven't learned from touching the hot stove. I always look at them and I'm like, well, this is the year where the defense lets them down. But, I won't bet against Connor McDavid. I just think that those 4 teams as a team are better than Edmonton's team right now. But Edmonton has 2 of the, if not the 2 best players in the world in McDavid and Draisaitl. So I'd put him at 5. I wouldn't put him in the top 4. I'd put him at 5.
The West feels like a race to my guy Naz Kadri, because every rumor I see is either Colorado or Dallas.
Yeah, that's where it stands right now, and we're in the rumor mill portion. By the way, today I think in about whenever you guys air this, but you have the roster freeze today, so nobody can be traded during the Olympic break. So I honestly don't think, from what I've heard, anybody wants to make a move right now, because one of the lines that keeps being said is owners and management don't want to pay a guy for a month to do nothing because of the break. So, okay, fine, fair.
Well, there's that. Okay, there's the finances of it, which is hilarious considering that the salary cap continues to go up. So heaven forbid players get paid what they're worth. Number one. Number
to not play this month.
To not play this month. Sure, got it.
Yeah. That's good.
Whereas
I believe it. That's why
I know I buy it. And then, but the other thing too, going back to what you said, nobody's losing, and that's the other thing. And this has been a recurring theme when it comes to any number of deals that we can talk about. I mean, right now, I think there's only one team that's in fire sale mode, and that would be the Rangers. Everybody else is kind of like, nah, well, we're sitting and waiting because we don't want to make any drastic moves because we feel that we're still in it. Which is interesting though, because let's just to that point, because everybody's obsessing over, and I'm included in this. Where can they improve? Second line center is clearly somewhere they can improve. What are you willing to give up? Like all these conversations we've had throughout the season. But here's the question: are they currently constructed, Vegas odds aside, currently constructed, good enough to get to the Eastern Conference Finals again?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then at that point, you are just looking to add a piece that in your mind, well, this is the thing that's going to get us over. Well, the other issue that getting over has been you keep running into the team that you have problems against in terms of the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers aren't going to be in it. They don't have the same boogeyman effect that the Tampa Bay Lightning do. They just don't.
I don't know where you guys stand on this. I have a hard time saying, well, we have to tailor our team to beat one team. But I mean, the way that the East has been for the last 3 years, you can't ignore it, and you can't say, well, that's not a thing, because it is. But then if you do that, and all of a sudden Tampa comes up, and you've structured your team to beat Florida, well, is that going to be good enough to beat Tampa? Right? Does it put you in a deficiency someplace else? So I think what you want to do, and all of these teams want to do it, and the trade deadline becomes such a tricky thing. You want to make your team the best possible version of what your team does. Not, we need to add this guy because we think he might help us beat Florida. You need to add the guy who's like, no, this is what makes us the team that they're like, oh, how the hell are we going to beat the Carolina Hurricanes if they have this guy? Not, this guy helps us beat, team X or team Y. So it's a real difficult dance. You don't want to give up too much. And I mean, if we're talking about a rental property, do you really want to give up a ton of futures or something like that for somebody who's here for a couple of months? My thing is always this, and we've already said this a few times. If you win the Stanley Cup, I'll worry about 5 years from now. There's players, there's things that are in the pipeline, and half this Canes roster is locked into place 5 years from now when you take a look at what they've been able to build. But it's a serious question. And by the way, that trade deadline when we come out of the Olympics is going to be there in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the time off these front offices, rather than the course of the season and kind of being, I honestly feel it allows you to take an honest, sober look of what you have when you're not playing. And that amount of time to think could create some interesting moves at the trade deadline. And I do subscribe to the idea in certain situations, you have to build your team or adjust what you have to get over on the team that keeps beating you. Right. Sure. But I do think that if Florida were in a different situation, if it looked like yet another, Stugatz, Florida Panthers, Carolina Hurricanes collision course, beep, well, then, yes, you want to make some moves that help you get over the team that you've had trouble getting over. If it looks like it's going to go in a different direction, well, then you got to trust what you have, other than historically, and I don't know if there's anything you can do about this, historically, the Hurricanes have trouble against Russian goalies. So I don't know, what do you do to that, right?
Well, there's a lot of them, so I don't know what you can do.
Right. There's a lot of them, number one. Number two, yeah, okay, so you trade Florida out, now you got Tampa, and damn it, there's another Russian goalie.
Yeah, and that guy's really good.
He's really freaking good. So what are you going to do? You bank on your, hot in the moment Brandon Bussi to go toe-to-toe with a future Hall of Famer. You know what I mean?
Tampa, again, me watching the stupid outdoor game.
Sure.
If you stay out of the penalty box, They're going to beat Tampa.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that. Like watching Gensel, I'm like grinding my teeth a little bit. Like, oh really? You get to play with Kucherov? That's wild.
Yeah.
Huh.
Funny how that works.
5-on-3. You guys look fucking awesome. And Kucherov's got 22 of his 60 assists are on the power play. Huh.
Oh, by the way, then Giglio, don't see how Tampa beat your Buffalo Sabres last night in overtime, because then you'll lose teeth. Not just grind them, you'll crush them.
Oh no, I won't do it. Don't spoil it for me.
I won't. But it involves the two names you just said.
Yeah.
So what's the Mike Maniscalco Olympic break?
Yeah.
I've got some stuff to do around my house, so that's good. Because
spend time with my wife, and
I get to reconnect with the wife, which is a good thing.
Good.
And the break is really good because normally when we have like a long period of time, it's fun. We get to do some stuff. We are going to take a small sojourn away from North Carolina. We've got a trip planned. We're going to head to Nevada in Las Vegas. So just a couple of days.
A little hidden gem. This place called Las Vegas. I don't know if you heard of it.
Well, I'm hearing that they're struggling for people. So I'm taking. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm taking advantage of that.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's it. But no, I'll be around here. I'm definitely going to watch the best on best because I watch Olympic hockey anyway. But this is whenever you have the buildup for this, and should it be USA versus Canada? Yeah, the way that they're set up. But
I need more Four Nations drama. That's what I need.
Well,
also in this particular case, we're the bad guys, so that'll be interesting to watch.
Oh yeah. We are not going to be. We're not going to be the lovable plucky underdogs and
little crappy Americans. No. Oh, we lost Maniscalco. Where'd he go?
I'm here.
Okay,
I just paid him his Olympic break.
Yeah.
There
you
go.
Hey, I had a Venmo come in. I'm like, hey, do I have a little something I can put on the table there?
There's one piece missing there. That's because you're getting a very special Rowback. No
worries.
That payment.
No worries, as my Canadian brethren say, at all.
So I'm going to be in Buffalo next week.
Yep.
Do I name drop you somewhere? Like, what do I do? And if I say, yeah, I know Maniscalco, they're going to be like, which one?
I'm gonna give you the advice that my father gave me if I ever go to Sicily. Be careful where you drop the name because they're either going to make you mayor or they're going to shoot you right there.
That's what I was at. Like, okay, I got to be a little careful. Hey, how about this? Because I also love watching Olympic hockey. Where do I go with the hockey dads to drink cheap beer and watch Olympic hockey? Where do I go?
It's a little place called Buffalo. Just throw a dart, you'll find a place.
Just anywhere in Buffalo.
Yeah. But by the way, it has been 25 years that I have lived there. So I have actually equal time grown the place of my youth and where I grew up to now living outside of the walls. But there are people who don't even know that I'm like the old radio station I work for. Like I'll get a call to, hey, you want to preview the game? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I'm talking to a guy. I'm like, you have no idea that I worked for this radio station, do you?
That is always an interesting inflection point because people are like, you're a South Florida guy. I'm like, guys, I've lived here way longer than I did. I lived in South Florida for 16 years. I'm going to be 47.
By the way, one of my favorite telltales when you talk to anybody outside of the market, outside of Raleigh, in the Triangle, is, so what about the Carolina Panthers? And I'm like, well, they're in Charlotte. And, people like them and they're good.
Yeah, not that people don't talk about the Panthers, but it ain't like that.
I'm like, it's a 2.5 hour car ride if I want to go and watch them play.
No, the real knowers, if they're like, oh, you're from Raleigh? Oh, okay. Are you?
We're money all the time and we'll
You got the sheets? I feel like we're going to have to ask Brian to do one for Brandon Bussi, and that can go places.
All right.
That can go places.
By the way, if I could, I just did a Canes Corner with him.
Yeah.
And one last thing on Brandon Bussi. He gets all of this, right? He is in the moment. This is not a whatever. And part of it is, 27 years old and riding the buses to get to, like, literally riding the buses to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
So he does the Canes Corner, and Joe, you guys have been there. You've seen what it's like.
Yeah.
Outside of when I hosted Skinner Palooza around the All-Star game, where I'm like, if the fire marshal comes in, they're shutting us down. right? You know, there are like people literally sitting on the floor.
Speaking of, by the way, happy like 15-year anniversary of that.
Oh God, yeah. We're coming up on that. Basically the local was standing room in the bar. The little back room was set up.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we try to do autograph sessions in the breaks and that's it. And then sometimes, all right, end of the show. Okay, everybody's here, sneak through, get one. He stands up at the end of the show and declares to the entire audience, I'll sign every autograph for everybody here.
Oh, geez, man.
I mean, that is a phenomenal story where, you know, he's riding this wave. He can now start doing hey, my time is precious. And no, not with him, not at all. He is soaking up every second of this and not taking it for granted. And it's an amazing thing to be a part of and watch. And you know, back to the question that you go, you know, is this team good enough to get to the Eastern Conference Final? Yes, because I've seen them do it.
Yeah.
I've seen them do it 2 out of 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, are they good enough to get past the Eastern Conference Final? And we got to see how it breaks. And Giglio, I think, had the most prescient point on this conversation. If you stay out of the box, if it's Tampa, you got a shot of going to the Stanley Cup Final. But that we still have a long, long way to go before we get there.
Well, I hope you enjoy some artisanal eats, you know, some backcountry little cottages in Las Vegas. I know it's quiet. It's a little nice little getaway.
I mean, I'm not expecting there to be any. I'm not expecting there to be any hustle and bustle or, you know, any kind of shiny distractions there. Just going to go a little quiet, little reconnect with the spouse time.
Yeah, looking forward to your photos in front of Thunder from Down Under over at the Excalibur.
Trust me. It's the only reason to go, if we're going to be honest with everybody.
Mike Maniscalco, Canes play-by-play, brought to you by Brassfield Accounting. Go check them out online, brassfieldaccounting.com. His reviews, fantastic. Not just banging on pipes. He's making sure you get your taxes right. All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
You got it, guys. Thank you.
Look, man, I'll be honest with you. You showed those DraftKings odds for hockey, the NHL, and Tampa Bay and the Canes being up there 1 and 2. That breaks younger me's brain that these Southern hockey markets are the ones that are atop the East and
Southeast Division,
and not your usual suspects. You know, like the Rangers or something like that, or Boston or something like that. Hell, even Toronto, because everybody's a sicko. No. It's the old Southeast Division compatriots. Disaster bros, if you will, that they are there at the top of the Eastern Conference in terms of the lines, the futures, which I think is freaking hysterical. Also, if you had told me back in 2002 that the Carolina Hurricanes would be coached by Rod Brittenmore, number one. Number two, they would be consistently atop of their division or the conference. And the expectation is, man, you better get to the Stanley Cup. This Eastern Conference final stuff. No. That's old news. I'd be like, are you high right now? Are you okay? But anyway, I digress. It is Super Bowl week, ladies and gentlemen. You might have heard. The game is on Sunday. I still think it's funny that people still do the SEO clickbait. What time is the Super Bowl? I almost feel like we should title one of our episodes, What Time is the Super Bowl? Maybe we do that tomorrow.
I don't know why you're laughing. That was like 60% of our page views for
it really was
1 year. Yeah, that's things people Google.
People really don't know when the Super Bowl is?
Yeah.
That's pretty damn funny.
What channels? Then you do all.
Oh, then you do that. Like what channel is it on? Okay.
When is the Super Bowl?
I see. All right. Now I'm tracking. I am now tracking. Anyway, you can use the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, just like we use the DraftKings Sportsbook app all the time. And just have a little fun with the Super Bowl, man. It's always a good time. And I would say that if you are a new customer, you haven't done this before, I would highly recommend you use our promo code OG25.
Feels like a win.
Here's what happens when you use promo code OG25. If you're a new customer, you bet just $5, you'll get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. And here's the cool thing about DraftKings and the Super Bowl, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60. Anything can happen, as you know. That's why we watch. And DraftKings has your back with early exit. If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting, in cash. So again, if you're new to DraftKings, New customers can bet just $5 and you'll get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. Use that promo code OG25. Again, that's OG25. You can turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois, 21 plus in most states, void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. You know it's never a limited time offer? A no closing cost mortgage from our friends at Miller Lending. That is not a limited time. That is not an act now. That is not, you better call because this rate's going to go away. That's not how it works with Miller Lending. The rate is the rate. You don't pay closing costs. The rate goes down in the future. You just refinance again, no cost to you. More importantly, with Miller Lending, as we like to tell you, just call. It's not about making you refinance on the spot. Call to get a better understanding of where the market is, what it means for interest rates, and what it means for you. It may very well turn out that you don't need to refinance right now, or that if you do want to refinance, they'll tell you, give us 6 months, and then we'll go from there. That is customer service. That is being honest with you about what the process is, and not any sort of shell game to try to get you to refinance and pay closing costs. That's Miller Lending. So check them out online, millerlending.com, 919-447-3377. Tell them we sent you, and you'll also get a row back straight off Giglio's back. Actually, no, we'll send you a new one.
You get a new one.
You get a new one. I'm kidding. Go to rowback.com. Use that promo code OG20. Again, that's OG20. They're dropping new styles for the spring like every day. They dropped a couple new polos. They've got some Mardi Gras ones. It is quarter zip season, as we all know. Quarter zip's so hot in 2026.
I laugh that you go to a airport and you're like, everyone here is kind of quarters.
Well, it's also trending online. In fact, I saw the other day a tier ranking of quarter zips.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, if I don't see Rowback on the S tier, then you're doing it wrong. So head on over to Rowback, use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. Also, if you take that thing to close with our friends at Miller Lending, we'll send you a Butcher's Market gift basket. As Gordon Miller has told you, it ain't cheap. So tell them we sent you. Refinance. You get a gift basket from the Butcher's Market. In the meantime, you're thinking about the Super Bowl. You got invited to a party you don't know what to bring. I got you. Go to the Butcher's Market. They got all sorts of stuff that you can use to bring to a party that you may or may not have been invited to. Sometimes you have to crash it. So go to thebutchersmarkets.com to find out their locations. Better yet, just go see all the goodies they have, grab and go stuff, and more importantly, things like buffalo chicken dip and other appetizers you can bring to a Super Bowl party. And let's say you do have this Super Bowl party and there's so many people, you don't know what to do. We got to get a bigger house. You need a room for the Will Wade sheets and the Brendan Bussi sheets. Go to Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. You can finance a house with Miller Lending, and you can buy a house through Hometown Realty. That is corporate synergy. So check them out online at myhtr.com. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline from ESPN. She covers the Steelers, but she's also covering the Super Bowl. It's Brooke Pryor. Brooke, what up?
Not much. I'm just being held hostage by the San Jose Convention Center right before Seahawks availability.
You want to hold up a newspaper? Or,
yeah.
I really
they don't exist. Maybe hold up your phone.
I mean, the good news is I've got my water bottle that has my name tag on it. Hello, I'm late. I just want to give people the correct expectations when they meet me.
Well, for those who are unfamiliar, this is just kind of standard operating procedure for anybody who covers a Super Bowl. You make do where you can. This is now my office. This is where I will be doing a hit on ESPN. That's kind of what it is, right?
I believe it was, I was talking with a former Marine yesterday who saw me just like whip out my tripod and my phone to do a hit on SportsCenter. And he said, he called it an expeditionary. Look at that. See, and that's what happens when you are remote. That's a whole laptop. But I think he called it, you want to be like expeditionary, I think was the word. It started with an E on just like get in and get out. And I was like, yeah, that's basically my whole existence.
Look, all I know is with you being part of an NFL coaching search, anywhere I went, I saw you on television. So I looked up, I'm at a brewery. There's Brooke. I'm at an airport. There's Brooke. All over the television because of the coaching.
Think of all my exes who were haunted by me over the last couple weeks. That thought actually just occurred to me. I have been haunting a lot of men, and that brings me a lot of joy. Happy National Women and Girls in Sports Day.
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right. So speaking of covering a coaching search, let's look at the macro before we go to the micro here. 10 openings. 10. I get that all these have their own reasons, but what's been the general discussion of media folks, NFL personnel you talk to, that we had nearly a third of the league looking for new head coaches all at once?
And it's interesting, too, because this coaching cycle, when I was talking, I mean, a lot of the conversations I was having was before Mike Tomlin decided to walk away and talking about, were the Steelers going to fire him or what would happen? And the thing that I heard over and over again is that this is not a good year to be looking for a new head coach, that there's not a Ben Johnson-like candidate out there that everybody's going to get in a bidding war over. And yet there ends up still being this significant amount of turnover. And I also think it's interesting that in a year where you have two defensive-minded head coaches in the Super Bowl, again, the hiring trends shift toward these young offensive guys. Mm-hmm. And it seems like nothing is going to break that. Again, there are Mike McDonald, it's calling defensive plays in the Super Bowl. Mike Vrabel, it's not the defensive play caller, but he comes from a defensive background. That is what has worked. And yet we're still going. If you were friends with Sean McVay, congratulations, you're now a head coach in the NFL. Unless you were also friends with Aaron Rodgers, and then you can also be a head coach in the NFL. I think it was just a very odd cycle and also disappointing, again, that only one coach of color who's not just, straight up white guy gets hired in Robert Saleh. Other than that, it is a very homogenous group of new head coaches, a lot of retreads, and Kevin Stefanski, Mike McCarthy. It's kind of disappointing. I'm very interested to see how this plays out, but I mean, that's just the way the league is this time. There is going to be a lot of turnover.
It's a copycat league. We've always known that. But to your point, I do feel like this hiring cycle was really no new ideas. Yeah. I just found that interesting. Somebody's
got Todd Monken as your head coach. Yeah, there are no new ideas.
None. So I find that when we get to the next cycle, if this is the one that people will point to say, all right, now it's time for something new. And I got to imagine that something has to be new being born out of the two quarterbacks that we're seeing in the Super Bowl, right? You've got the second-year player in Drake Maye, and then you have the journeyman who, it's easy to give up on this guy. And I think what happened in Minnesota with their general manager being let go was a retroactive, well, wait a minute, we could have had Sam Darnold, but we made these other decisions as if that was all on him. But again, that's a different angle altogether. I guess what I'm getting at is everything's so centered on the quarterback, and we're seeing two instances in which you can get to the Super Bowl with a journeyman and a second-year guy. Now you got to find the coach to make it work. I feel like that's the next thing.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, obviously, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going anywhere. The Pittsburgh Steelers have lived that life since Roethlisberger retired. They know if they don't have the guy back there, you're going to get blown out in Wild Card Weekend every single time. Mm-hmm. And I think a big piece of this is pairing the quarterback with the right coach, because Drake Maye wasn't doing this with Gerard Mayo. And no, that Gerard Mayo is not directly responsible for Drake Maye having a bumpy rookie season. Josh McDaniels coming in and helping develop him has been a huge part of this. But I think that it's about finding the right fit in the right organization. I mean, that's why the Giants went out and hired John Harbaugh. They think that he's the right guy to help develop Jackson Dart. I'm not so sure about bringing in Matt Nagy. That's going to be interesting. But Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, that's the right pairing. I think this Super Bowl should be an example of we need to stop trying to rush quarterbacks to being great right out of the gate, even though you have Drake Maye, who is that. But Sam Darnold is a great example of don't give up on a quarterback just because it doesn't work out the first couple of years. And also, it is easier to destroy a quarterback than it is to make a quarterback. Organizations destroy quarterbacks way too often. And the ones that make it through, the resilient ones, the Baker Mayfields, the Sam Darnolds, yeah, they're going to be better for it, but they've got to fight through a lot of bullshit to get there. And this is an example of those two paths that it can go.
The search that you covered in Pittsburgh, I'm still trying to process because Chuck Noll was 37 when he was hired in 1969. Bill Cowher was 35 in 1992, and Mike Tomlin was 35 in 2007. Mike McCarthy is 62 years old. So the Steelers hired 3 guys in 57 years. So even if this thing works out great, they're hiring another coach in 4 years. It's just very un-Pittsburgh like. Yeah. Very un-Rooney like. Was this completely out of left field, or how did this kind of come about in your opinion that they landed on, yes, a Super Bowl winning coach, and yes, a connection to their current quarterback, but this just feels super out of character for a franchise like the Pittsburgh.
It's out of character, and yet it's also not, because they hire, he's 62 years old. He is the oldest head coach they have ever had, period. Not just at the time of hiring, but he's also from Pittsburgh. He's from Greenfield, and Art Rooney II made a point to mention that off the top. I believe it was Art's late grandfather's birthday, that on the day that they introduced him, and he said, I think that my grandfather would love that we're introducing a guy from Greenfield to be our head coach. Not that that's why he was hired, but I don't think it hurt him. No. It is un-Steelers like, but it's also Steelers like. It's un-Steelers like in the way that in the past they were the ones setting the tone. They were the ones that were setting the example for the rest of the league and taking a risk on young defensive coaches. They were not afraid to break from the norm. The problem is now, though, everyone else has caught up to that. And the Steelers are saying, you know what? We've gotten really comfortable working with and hiring people that are familiar to us, that are familiar to this city, that are familiar to the organization. So we're going to stick with that. And I thought for a long time that this was a Mike Tomlin thing, because we always joked, like, if you have a brother or a relative that's played in the NFL, congratulations, you are now a Pittsburgh Steeler. Mike Tomlin wants you. Turns out that's the entire organization's philosophy. If you have a connection to Pittsburgh, congratulations, you are now a Pittsburgh Steeler. I believe they're working on a deal to hire an offensive coordinator who went to Pitt, or who was a tight ends coach at Pitt. Some other people on their coaching staff, their new special teams coordinator also worked at Pitt. So they don't want to get out of their comfort zone. I had a league exec tell me that it is a risk-averse team that made a risk-averse hire. And while it breaks from their tradition, Art Rooney II was also not the one running those coaching searches. That was his father. He was there, but this is the first time that Art has been in the driver's seat. And this hire to me says, I want to win now. I want to win before I turn control over to my son. This is the way to do it, because I don't want to take a risk and worry about bottoming out in one of the few years that I have left in control. I'm going to try to get to the next level with a guy that I feel comfortable with.
But they do know that this is not Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers of Green Bay, right?
Maybe there's a time machine in the Pittsburgh Steelers practice facility that we're not aware of. They did put in a new sauna. Maybe it has some Benjamin Button-like qualities, because Aaron Rodgers did say he felt like Benjamin Button, so maybe that's what they're banking on.
I don't know. It's just like, guys, it's 2026. We're not necessarily here anymore.
But this is the organization. This is the organization that I have their Twitter notifications on for the team. They tweet out on the anniversary of every single Super Bowl that they won, every legend's birthday. This organization lives in the past. They want to recapture old glory. You know who had glory a long time ago? Who beat the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, is Aaron Rodgers there? Is he investigating 5G and electromagnetic fields around the stadium?
I can't say that I've checked every dark cave nearby, but he could be lurking. But I would think that a man who one time when we all put our phones up at the podium to record after a game said, "Hey guys, no Bluetooth wireless transmitters." And I think he was kidding. I'm not sure. He does wear wired headphones though. No shade to wired headphones. I don't think he's going to risk it.
You know what? Good for him, because wired headphones just sound better. Bring back the mini stereo jack in the phone. I'm very upset.
Listen,
it's just all AirPods. That's all that is.
If once we can get some wired headphones with noise cancellation, then we can talk. But until I can get that, I need to be able to shut out the outside world.
All right. I see what you're saying. All right. So I'm assuming that the vibe of the Super Bowl is like everybody's really, really happy for a scrappy upstart organization, the New England Patriots, finally getting back to the Super Bowl, right?
Oh, I mean, thrilled. They're throwing parades in the street. But it is weird though, right? Because this Patriots team, like it feels strange for me to say this.
Don't do it, Brooke.
They're likable. They're kind of likable. How can you not like Drake Maye?
How could you not like Drake Maye?
There's a difference.
How can you not like Matt Collins?
Is likable. Mike Vrabel is likable.
Super likable.
That does not mean the Patriots are likable.
Unfortunately, it does.
Are not.
Unfortunately, it does. Will Campbell, likable. Their defense, very likable. They were a delight.
Since it is Duke Carolina week, do you have plans for Saturday, by the way, while you're out in San Francisco?
I have been chatting with Jonathan Jones about that. There's also Andrew Beaton, Wall Street Journal reporter. He went to Duke when I was at UNC. He came up to both of us yesterday and asked where we were going to be watching the game. And Jonathan Jones said, not with you. So
that also sounds like a very Jonathan Jones response.
It sure does. Sure does. So we have to figure out the time zone differences because Eastern Pacific, I think the game tips at like 3:00 here.
It would be 3:30 for you, 6:30 here Eastern time.
Here's the thing. I did get invited to the Jordan brand house here for their brand activation.
Okay.
I can't think of a better place to watch Carolina Duke than at the Jordan house.
Sounds to me like you've got plans on Saturday.
I think I do. Maybe I'll share it with Jonathan. Probably not. I don't know why I'm calling him Jonathan. That really hurts. JJ.
Yeah, JJ. Well, he's a dad now, so
he is.
Yeah,
he is a father. I've seen the eye bags to prove it. Yeah.
I texted with him the other day. He's like, "Man, I'm like, dude, I get it. You got a young one. I totally understand."
You have finally lived long enough that UNC is the center of the football universe this week at the Super Bowl.
Yep,
we finally got to that point.
I bet you never thought that was going to happen, Brooke.
No, I sure did not. And a kid from Charlotte, who, by the way, Drake Maye could not be more Myers Park if he tried, or in Michael May. It is so Charlotte. I am so in my element at the Super Bowl. I'm like, I know you people. I grew up with you people.
I do think it's funny, though, that locally we've heard more from Mac Brown, who coached Drake Maye, obviously, and he's wearing his Texas gear while he is singing the praises of Mac Brown, because, of course. And even Dave Doran this week was like, hey, man, good for Charlotte. You know, there's all sorts of stuff going on. Even Doran's like, hey, man, cool. Now, if you're Doran, what do you care? You beat Drake Maye. So it is what it is.
True.
But I've seen
that's a feather in his cap.
I've seen Doran talking about it. I've seen Mac talking about it. Where's Bill? Bill around?
You know,
promoting UNC football. I mean, it's a big moment for UNC football. I mean, I'd be all over it recruiting.
It would make a lot of sense. You know, maybe they shouldn't have hired a coach that has a vendetta against an organization like the Patriots. And maybe some of it's maybe he's earned having those harsh feelings, but also maybe he should put that behind him and not be a child and use that to recruit some better talent and get in the transfer portal and stop sending letters via typewriter to, you know, guys that don't have a home. But what do I know?
I like the Mike Lombardi shot there. Couldn't
miss that. I had to take my shot like Hamilton.
So I guess what I find interesting is that in the triangle we have had players get to the Super Bowl, right? But I think this is, if I'm kind of like racking my brain here. Like Russell Wilson getting to the Super Bowl with the Seahawks was a little weird because of the whole Tom O'Brien exit from NC State. Who claims him? It became more of like, can you believe ... right?
Mm-hmm.
None of that baggage really. I mean, we're making jokes about Bill Belichick, but that's a Bill Belichick thing. Right. There's really none of that with Drake Maye. And it's almost like we weren't.
Well, not if the current coach has baggage with him. So it's still not a clean, like, wrap your arms around it. Look, our guy is in the Super Bowl.
It's not clean because, yes, Belichick did, because of his vendetta with the Patriots, dismiss the draft pick when they drafted Drake Maye. That's there. I'm talking specifically about Drake Maye. And I guess the flip here is that this is the pure, clean Carolina guy, local guy, quarterback the Super Bowl here in the modern era. Am I missing something here?
Right, but it's not clean because of the stupid current coach.
I'm going to take Belichick out of it.
But you can't.
That's like you can.
Brian out of Russell Wilson.
No. Drake didn't go to another school and then go on TV and say he's from a whole pack of Tar Heels.
Okay, a whole pack of Longhorns.
And Bill Belichick will not be at UNC forever. Like but Drake will always be linked to UNC.
So what I'm getting at here is this is not what we would have scripted in the triangle given history of UNC quarterbacks in the pros versus NC State quarterbacks in the pros. You would think more likely than not, it'd be Phillip Rivers who got to this point with his Hall of Fame career. You got the Russell messiness and things like that. So in a weird sort of way.
Jacoby Brissett, there's so much erasure there. He may have been on a Super Bowl roster. He was briefly with the Patriots.
He was
the starter.
But he wasn't the starter. So this is kind of like new territory for, I think, Carolina football in general. I mean, if you think about it, if you're Carolina football, how are you not putting your arms around this with the Charlotte kid? I mean, we know Scott Fowler's tweeting about it every day and unearthing new Myers Park footage. I just feel like this is a unique thing that I don't think we fully put we haven't wrapped our minds around it, I don't think.
No, we haven't. And I also think, though, that goes back to why the Bill Belichick hire was so bad top to bottom. And these are the ripple effects of this. These are the consequences of your actions. You have the easiest slam dunk home run campaign to recruit people, to get season ticket holders. You should be promoting Drake Maye at every single turn. And instead, because you went out and hired Bill Belichick, now it's the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Now it's, wow, look at the head coach's former organization with a quarterback that we produced. There wasn't even a messiness on the incoming transfer. Like, Drake Maye is universally beloved in Chapel Hill, in North Carolina. And because there's this like Eeyore of a figure in Bill Belichick there, you can't embrace it. So you know what, UNC, you screwed up. And this is what you get.
You know what? You're right. I'm wrong. I'm trying to make this not a Bill Belichick thing, and sure enough,
it's always going to be a Bill Belichick thing. And this week we're even talking about how he didn't get into the Hall of Fame. So his cloud is still hanging over all of this, all of it.
Him and Robert Kraft, they can go commiserate together. How about that? Brooke Pryor, ESPN, covers Steelers at the Super Bowl. We appreciate the time as always, Brooke. Have a good time. And if you do hang out with JJ on Saturday, I expect a selfie. So
of course, send a snap, see a snap, send a chug, do a chug. What do we used to do on Snapchat? That's what we'll do. We'll throw it back to 2016.
I want to say it was chug.
See a chug, send a chug. I think it was see a chug, send a chug.
And yeah, you and me, we'd be up in the Keenan press box, and JJ's on a golf course somewhere, just knocking him back. Kind of hard to do. That sounds right. Yeah. All right, Brooke, we'll talk to you later.
See you guys.
I don't know. Maybe if you're the NFL and you've got these rules and whatnot, you go ahead and you talk to a lawyer about that kind of stuff. Like you've got this policy, right, about hiring people. Are you adhering to the policy? I don't know. Maybe you need to see my lawyers. Hey,
NFL's got a lot of lawyers.
They do have a lot of lawyers. Billable hours are undefeated in a lot of cases.
Not smart enough to have WH.lawyer though.
No,
as their URL.
No. That would be our friends at Whitaker and Hamer. Check them out online at WH.lawyer. Attorneys and counselors at law with locations across North Carolina that can help your small business needs, your personal legal needs. Heck, they can even help you take a refinance from Miller Lending to close if you need to. Or you bought something from Whitaker and Hamer, or you bought something from Hometown Realty. You got your new construction, got to take that thing to close. They can do all those documents for you. So check them out online, WH.lawyer. Again, that's WH.lawyer. And I can feel it. I know we got another bout of winter weather, but I'm starting to see all the snow melt off, all the ice melt off. You're seeing the green of the grass before you know it. The birds are out, the squirrels are out, the rabbits are out. Before you know it, spring is here. And then before you know it, the mosquitoes are back. So it's time to start thinking about Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Look, Pest Authority can take care of the inside of your house. No contracts, pay as you go. They can even go above and beyond, do things like moisture barriers for your crawl space. But it's time to start thinking about mosquito treatments so you can enjoy your back deck, your patio, whatever it is that you want to do. Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority, you can bundle and save at bugsbite.com. Again, that's bugsbite.com. Doing things a little differently today. No, hey, Joe. We'll save some of the stuff for Thursday's live show, which I actually just got confirmation. We should be joined by Governor Josh Stein tomorrow to talk about the Duke Carolina game.
Okay.
While we're doing OG Live.
Sounds like fun.
So who do you think he has? Do you think he's going to be like Roy Cooper and act like, oh, no, I just hope both teams have fun?
You know, that is my lifelong pursuit, to get politicians to just declare in the open their true allegiance.
Straight up.
Yeah,
something tells me Josh Stein wants Carolina to win. Just a hunch. Chapel Hill guy.
Grew up in Chapel Hill.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So instead of Hey Joe, we're bringing in our friend Steve Schwartz, longtime high school basketball official. 36 years?
36 years. 36, 37. I've lost count having had all that fun.
What I love, though, is I saw you post this on Facebook, and I went and watched it. It is on a Phenom Hoops YouTube highlight reel of Drake Maye playing basketball for Myers Park. This is 2019.
Hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, 2019. This is round 4, the Elite 8 of the high school championships?
That is correct.
And I see in the background one Steve Schwartz behind Drake Maye, who just made a bucket. And he's really, really hype about this. And this looks like it was a wild crowd.
It was a great night of basketball. Before I get to it, I just want to say it's good to be with you guys. I posted on Facebook that I would be on the show today. Just mentioning the both of you in a Facebook post makes it go viral. And you should be proud of that. I think 8 or 9 likes is what I
big
got.
time.
Fantastic.
Break it through.
Fantastic.
Break it through. I love it.
I'm a good luck charm. And probably the most commented thing from a lot of officials were commenting on, and they wanted to know, at what point do I get a walk-up song on the pod? When do I get a walk-up song? Is it the next visit? Do I have to have 5
your own
visits?
jingle?
I'd like to have something. I think it would be. I think it would be a sign of respect of my.
Do you think I always sing the theme to the Love Boat, but I just say the life coach?
That could be. That could
Can
work.
Can we get somebody who Steve has coached to do an off-book black market jingle for us?
Yeah.
I think that would be
fun. Yes, we could.
Let's look into this.
Let's look into that.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Picking up what I'm putting down?
There are thousands of high school officials across the state of North Carolina who are all wondering that one item is when you will give Steve a walk-up song, a jingle, if you will.
Well, you didn't put your headphones on today like an amateur, but we played the Frasier knockoff music, which is our Hey Joe.
Because if we get out, that's our last segment.
Hey, baby, I hear the podcast is calling.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, you want a jingle, we'll get you a jingle. We actually know the right person to do the jingle. It just has to be like black market off book.
Yeah. We can't identify that person.
Am I allowed to get one for myself?
I mean,
it would be inappropriate. That's a crossing a line.
If it's like a barbershop,
would be a lovely gift from you guys.
we would welcome that.
Yeah. Is it a cappella?
I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
I tell you what, why don't you do it and surprise me with it and invite me back on the pod? I should be a regular on the pod because you don't do anything with officials, and it's lovely. For those who don't know, and I know for security reasons, you never talk about where your studio is, but we are here in Pittsburgh. The OG, they rent
world headquarters,
unfinished attic space in Tom Tillis's house, and it's really like to have a space heater next time. But
all right, so we'll work on the jingle. In the meantime, we are working a bit with you to bring you on a little bit more frequently here in the basketball season.
Okay,
and that is to quiz Giglio, Mr. Rule Follower, on some basketball officiating.
I came with questions,
but before we get to that. It is Super Bowl week, and I know the life coach loves a good Super Bowl story.
Localize everything.
Localize there. Hey, look, Steve was the one who gave us one of our greatest radio bits with the I want Mike and Durham stories, not Coach K stories.
That was good.
That was good, and we had several people calling in.
Home Depot.
It's like, I saw him at Lowe's. Just getting I don't know, mulch for his yard, or here's Coach K getting a newspaper, all that kind of stuff. It was a good bit. Steve's idea. So
I have no memory of that.
That's fine. I don't remember having 2 interceptions in a high school football game.
Yeah, this guy had 2 critical interceptions, including one on the 3rd play of this game, and he doesn't remember it. And he had to read it in the newspaper to recall. And I'm thinking CTE, maybe?
Something.
I have no idea.
It'll explain a lot.
So you're in a different situation as an official. By that point, if I understand this correctly, you've never worked one of their games before once you get this far into the playoffs, right?
That's correct. We knew that we were going to be a state championship crew, and you get so deep in the playoffs that it becomes neutral crews.
Yeah,
Chapel Hill sends you to sites where the teams you've never seen the teams before. So this was round 4. We were sent to Reynolds High School in Greensboro, very well named school. If I could just pause for a moment for those who get that inside joke. And it was Myers Park against Reynolds High School. And I mean, how many games have I done in 36, 37 years? I don't remember very many of them, right? Because I'm not emotionally attached to any of these games.
You're just calling the game.
So something great has to happen in a game for me to remember it. But I remember that night because it was electric. I mean, the crowd was electric and proud of the crew. And here we are. A friend of mine reminded me that Drake Maye was in that game that Myers Park won. They ended up losing in round 5 to West Charlotte High School, which ended up being in the state championship. And we ended up officiating that game too.
Okay.
So yes, Drake Maye was in that. And I trust you'll link to the YouTube video so everyone can see how great Drake Maye was as a basketball player.
Now it's focused on you. You look spry.
I needed to lose weight, and it's in retrospect, but I can't turn the clock. Spry. You think spry?
You look spry.
He will regret
that. So, as an official, you do interact with players, though.
Correct.
So, what was that? What was high school basketball player Drake Maye? I mean, athlete family. His brothers obviously play. I mean, we know the athletic background. So I'm assuming
at this point, Luke Maye had hit one of the biggest shots in UNC history.
Yeah.
And he still was Luke's brother, but he had committed to Alabama of all places. So there's a lot there, obviously. But Luke, obviously, a Carolina basketball player. So there was probably even some rumors that Roy was going to let him walk on and sit at the end of the bench and all those other things too. But
my memory of Drake that night was one of a kid that was very respectful. Sometimes players want to multitask during games and they want to both play and officiate. That was not him. My memory was the kid was very focused.
Okay.
And put his head down and did the work and was a team player and was incredibly unselfish and just made it work for the team that night. And I think they won by like 4 or 5 points, if memory serves, the final score of that game. And I take nothing away from the team or the coaching from Myers Park that night, but I think he owned the evening and set the tone for the kind of game that we were going to have, where it was going to be all about basketball.
Nice. I think that has translated over to his football career as well. Very much business. Very business.
Yeah.
My comp for Drake Maye has always been Phillip Rivers. You say sometimes guys want to officiate and do other things. Phillip Rivers, like Drake Maye, does not like to swear, but he will talk trash the entire time. Just he does so without swearing. But that wasn't Drake's personality. He wasn't a
no memory. I mean, I'm sure during the game I will talk to players to build. As an official, we're taught to communicate with players. And I will during free throws, during dead balls, during throw-ins. I'll say, how you doing? How long was the ride here? How long did it take you to get to Greensboro? Where are you guys going to eat? I'll make small talk to try to build a relationship with them so that if there is drama during the game, you can leverage that little relationship you have where I could say to someone like Drake Maye, hey, number 13 is like trash talking a bit. Go ahead and talk to him for us. And it is more impactful to solve a problem before you have it. And he was that kind of player.
So how would you talk to Quadir Copeland if you were officiating? He is very demonstrative and makes his opinion known on things while also being a key driver in last night's win. How would you?
Let's remember that high school players can be different from college players, right? I can get away with more because they're 16 and 17 years old. They're all testosterone.
Yeah.
Not many of them feel privileged. And if they do, there are just ways of managing them. And I'll talk to players differently depending on, my vibe of the moment of what I need to do to get them right so that we can get through this game.
You know what I need in my life? I need Steve officiating a basketball game coached by Will Wade. That's what I need.
Oh my God, that would be great. I would love it.
Will Wade just jawing at Steve.
I would have something in common with you, Joe. I mean,
getting yelled at by
Will Wade in a press conference. My God, I have watched it. The YouTube videos keep going up on that. That's me.
Steve's settling in for the night. You know what I need to watch before I go to bed? When I watch Giglio get yelled at by Will Wade. All right, now here's your opportunity to stunt on Giglio.
Okay.
You have 5 officiating scenarios.
I've got 5 basketball rules questions.
Okay.
Let me clear my brain.
Okay.
Okay. As I've established, man, I'm not the right person to ask about these types of things. Okay. You saw me try to officiate a game. It was terrible. So you got 5 questions. These are all basketball rules and scenarios. Okay.
Correct. High school, but I think this is the rule book. I brought it in.
You brought the books.
So
Okay.
high school rule book. It's 80 plus pages long.
Gotcha. All right. Question number 1.
Okay.
What do we got?
Here's the thing I always say about the rule book, okay, is there's no outlandish scenario you can't concoct in your brain that is not covered in that rule book. In my 30 plus years, we've never had a scenario where it's not covered.
Okay.
And I'd like to do something. I want to do a little something special. Yeah. All right. Does the OG have a favorite charity? Or Joe, Giglio, do you have a charity that you're partial to?
I mean, any of the cancer funds are good. Duke, UNC, K-Out, any of those.
Okay, I'm going to let you choose. I've saved my basketball referee money over the years. Took me a long time because, we don't get paid very much because the NCHSAA has not fixed that problem yet.
On a previous episode of the OG, you can go see Steve talking about those issues with officials.
And hopefully on an upcoming episode.
Of course.
So I have 5 questions. For every question you get right, Joe, I'm gonna donate $50.
Oh, nice.
To your favorite charity. Okay. So top end is $250. But if you get a question wrong, we're gonna give Joe Ovius a family 4-pack to the matinee to see the new Melania movie at the Alamo Draft House.
Standing room only, I heard.
That's what I hear as well.
That's a very hot ticket.
And the reason I bought the family 4-pack at the Alamo Draft House is I don't think they sell your beer.
No, they don't.
Oh, gives you an opportunity to get, another vendor.
I'm with it.
And ask why? Because I sincerely pretend to care about you. And I'm always looking for... Okay, you ready? Are you ready? Giglio, question number 1.
Right,
question number 1, multiple choice.
Oh, man.
Question number 1, multiple choice. Let's talk end of game scenario. Buzzer beaters are great, aren't they? Buzzer beaters are great. So a couple of these are going to deal with buzzer beaters. There's a horn and a red light.
Yeah.
That behind the backboard in basketball, high school and college. If the horn and the red light are not in sync, the horn sounds, the red light goes off. If they are not in sync, which one overrules the other to end the game or the period? By the rule book, no. Is it A, the horn, B, the red light, C, whichever one goes off first, or D, whichever one goes off last?
So high school, there's no review. So
Correct.
Logically, I would say in high school, you go by whichever one goes off first.
Okay, so you're going with C. Joe is going to go see Melania later today, the matinee. According to the rule book, the red light trumps the horn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my original thought. If you didn't give me choices, I would have said red light.
Logic was telling me the red light.
Okay.
Okay. Question number 2. All but one player of a team fouls out with 30 seconds left in a game. What do you do?
All but
these
one.
brain busters. Let's call these the brain busters.
All but one.
All but one player on a team fouls out with 30 seconds left in the game. What do you do? It's in the rule book.
Okay.
If officials are listening to this, they're shouting the answer at whatever device they're listening to.
I think you have to have 4 on the floor to compete.
All right.
So if you only have 1, I suspect the game is ruled over. Final score.
Okay, is that your final
answer?
Okay, Regis. I hope Joe has an extended family. He gets another family 4-pack. The rulebook states that if, as an official, we believe that the team with one player has a chance to win.
Can play with one player.
Can play with one player. So it's never happened.
So it's an official school. Because you asked that question. I was thinking about how does this end up in the rule book? Who thought this?
But you can't start with less than 4.
Well,
I got that part right.
I was going to ask that question, and I'm going to take it out now. I've got backup questions.
Okay,
I got that part right.
No, I guess the question I would have is how the hell do you end up with one player?
So
what happens
if there's a fight? They all leave the bench.
Yeah.
No, I mean it could be they all foul out. Could be a team only shows up with 5 players.
Maybe they
4 foul out. Right.
Okay.
I've never had it. I mean this will never be. but it's an interesting question that maybe your listeners and your viewers.
I just feel like somebody's been hitting the OG Light, a couple six-pack OG Lights, and thinking like, I know, what if?
No, I have finished the high school our freshman year. We finished a game with 4 players.
Yeah.
Oh, so you remember that, but not the interceptions.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And the converse of that you brought up, if a team shows up with only 4 players, and you have to start with 5. The rulebook states you must start
high school
with 5 players.
Gotcha.
You cannot start. And if you show up with 4 and the other coach has 6, he can't say I'll start 4. You have to start with 5 players. So I'm taking that question now. All right. So far, 8 Melania tickets for Obvious, $0 for your chair. $0.
I mean, that's how the tickets are being purchased too in bulk. So
question number 3. An errant pass is deflected and goes up in the air, and the horn sounds to end the period. And then the ball goes through the basket. You count it.
An errant pass is tipped.
An errant pass is deflected in the air.
Doesn't matter. The basket doesn't matter.
The horn goes off. The horn goes off, and then the ball goes in. So just like a buzzer beater, right? I mean, buzzer beater is...
But off a deflection.
But this is off a deflection. Do you count it?
I would assume it still counts because there's a release. It's not in someone's hand.
God, that's great. Great logic.
Except it's not.
Except.
12 tickets to Melania.
Wait a minute. How does that work?
The rulebook states that in order for a end of period or end of game shot to count, it has to be a shot at the basket.
Has an actual shot.
This is not a shot at the basket.
I see.
That would be
errant pass.
So what you're saying is, even if it was your own team and you tipped it,
if you tip it, you can tip or tap or shoot the ball. Those are all legal. Those are legal shots. But if I throw it at you and it goes off your elbow up in the air and the horn rings and it goes in, it does not count because it's not a technically a shot. Yep.
Wow.
All right.
Did not know that.
So far.
Well, wait a minute. Now I have a question for you. 1983.
Well, he caught it and then dunked
it. He caught it, but let's say he didn't catch it. Was it a shot or was it a pass?
He's saying you can.
What if it just went off his head?
A tip or a tap to the basket counts as a shot.
Okay.
If it went off his head now.
But let's say that's the same thing happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it goes off Lorenzo Charles's head.
Nope.
Not a basket.
Wow. Correct.
The glass slipper does not fit.
You want to talk about the definition of NC State shit.
If that had happened, we would not have had to see the video 14 million times.
But Witt says it was a shot. No, he says it was a pass, actually. He always said it was a pass. So, anyway.
All right. Question 4 of 5.
Come on, let's rally.
What are the 3 things you need as an official to determine if it's goaltending?
3.
There are 3 things in the rule book that we have to think about in order to be able to call a goaltending violation.
I can think of 2. If it went off the backboard first, that's goaltending. If it's in the cylinder, that's goaltending. 3rd. Was the rim, did someone pull on the rim? No, that doesn't count. If the equipment's, I guess that's all a catch-all.
I'd lock in those answers.
Okay. Locked in.
16 tickets to Melania now.
Well, I know what goaltending is. What do you mean?
First off, I'll say that there's a difference between goaltending and basket interference. If it's in the cylinder or on the ring, that's basket interference.
Okay.
But for goaltending to happen, the ball
has got
the ball's got to be above the rim. Number 1. On its downward flight, and as an official, I have to believe it has a chance to go in.
Okay.
Those are the 3 attributes. Okay, final question. Jeez.
Has there been a goaltending call that wasn't basket interference recently?
There
doesn't happen that much.
Yeah, they are different.
Patrick Ewing and Akeem Olajuwon used to have the
for goaltending. It has to be outside of the outside of the ring. All right.
Okay.
Final question. It's in the rule book.
Mm-hmm.
These brain busters.
I know, man.
I'll come back with 5 easier ones for you. Team A has 66 points.
Okay.
Team B has 64 points. Team A decides to forfeit the game.
Okay.
What's the final score of the game?
It's either 1-0 or 2-0. I mean, give me half a credit for that one.
Is that your final answer?
Is that your final answer? Well, which one? Which one?
I'll say 1-0.
Okay. All right.
Joe's going for 10 months.
It's
2-0.
Be a sellout at Melania. You got that one wrong too.
What is it?
What is it?
It's 2-0.
Oh,
it's 2-0.
I was right.
You're right. We'll get that to you.
Rulebook states that if the team losing forfeits, whatever the score is the final score. If the team winning forfeits, it's 2-0.
Okay.
And I will just say to you that I had that once in my 36 years. I had a game forfeited at halftime
by the winning team.
By the losing team.
Oh, okay.
Okay, by the losing team. Okay,
Yeah.
but you have not been in a situation where the team that's ahead has forfeited.
Correct. And I've never had a forfeit outside of that I can't remember where I was. It was like an hour and a half outside of Raleigh. And
they were like, we had enough.
It was the team was getting clobbered and it was snowing out.
Mm-hmm.
And the coaches came in during halftime and they said, "Oh, well, we've decided the visiting team's going to forfeit so they can get on the road and get home."
Yeah.
And then as the official, the referee has to approve it. And so, okay, it's approved. And the minute they walked out of the locker room, one member of the crew looked at me and said, "We still get the full game fee, right?"
I mean, that's the most important question. That is the most important question.
0 for 5, Joseph.
No.
0 for 5.
I was not 0 for 5.
We'll give you. We'll give you the last one.
No,
we'll give you the last one. I'm coming in to overrule on that one.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you the win on that because the intent was in the right place.
The first one is interesting because there's no technology in high school basketball. Out of all these games I've been to with no shot clocks, and Broughton has allegedly the best gym going.
And do they have
and
a
their
red light?
clock is completely fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, to your point, if there is this great big discrepancy, you do have to open up a rule book and say, hey, this is what we're going by.
Do you know how many times I've been in the box at Invisalign or wherever, and we can't get the scoreboard to do penalties right? So it's like, all right, look at the clock, 2 minutes, let's go, and then yelling at the yelling at the parent who's in the penalty box, saying, all right, at 2:38 and a whistle, So yeah, man, you got to overcome the technology.
I would not have come up with the red light on my own because of those technological.
I will say though, because the stakes are so high, because the technology does exist in the venue at the time for a state championship, you're told as a crew that if there is a last second shot and there's a question, you can go to video. That's the only time. That's the only time you can do it. And it's because it's covering on TV.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, Steve, we appreciate it. We're going to give you a parting gift. Here is Morgan, the hocky pig.
Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Appreciate that.
Give it to your friends.
Don't say you don't get it.
Or would you like a drunk wolf?
I'd rather the wolf.
Here,
to be honest,
take both. Give it to your friends.
Okay. Where's the Reynolds and Company?
It's on the beer fridge.
I was told
no.
I have to be in camera range. That was
was
the agreement.
No, you're right. You're right. That was the agreement. The issue is I have a backlog of things I need framed, including that. I'm going to frame that, and it's going to be like right now. The next thing I got to frame is this Devin Leary Holiday Bowl signed. The bowl game that never happened.
Correct.
Dave Dorn's mythical 10th win never happened. But we have the jersey.
Okay.
So I got to frame that. We also have the Entertainment and Sports Arena. I was there. The home opener.
That's in the process.
I'm going to get that framed Friday.
Okay.
So that's on the process. So we're in the process, Steve. We got you. But it's on the beer fridge. Respectfully,
it is.
It's on the beer fridge.
I'm only slightly hurt seeing it out of camera range because that was the deal. Did you not agree to those terms?
I agreed to those terms. We will get a Reynolds and Company on there. Maybe I'll put it next to RIP 2 guys named Chris. So maybe we'll just put it all together. We'll just have a RIP morning shows from North Carolina past. Okay. Maybe we do that. I don't know. Something we can think about. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. Thanks for coming in, Steve.
Thanks for letting me
always a fun chat. We'll have to do this again. Give that rule book to Joe because he's going to have to study.
Yeah, let me study.
Always a pleasure.
give that rule book to him.
Okay.
You don't think I won't study? You're crazy.
He will study. He will absolutely go. That is called bathroom reading of the highest order right there. I know where that's going to be.
He won't understand a word. He'll be texting me from the toilet is what he'll be doing.
You'd be surprised how much communication takes place from that office. Steve, we appreciate it, man. Always good to catch up. And that's going to wrap it up for today's show. We'll have OG Live brought to you by the Butcher's Market. Darren Gant's going to join us from San Francisco. 10 years. 10 years since that Carolina Panthers Super Bowl.
So disappointed in Darren.
Why?
He did the oldest trope in our business.
What did he do?
He had people at the Super Bowl and pronounce North Carolina towns.
Oh, yeah, that is an old trope. But yeah, we'll talk to Gant about that. And then, Governor Josh Stein wants to drop on by and talk some hoops. So we'll do that tomorrow. We'll see you then.